A very good day, dear students. I am Shomadeep, as you know me, to be your faculty for robotics, and welcome to another session of robotics. We'll be continuing with our sixth session today. We'll be continuing to have knowledge further about our favorite microcontroller that we should be using in this session for our practical sessions. That is Arduino, specifically Arduino Uno that we'll be using. So I what I have done is I have segregated this whole session into two parts basically. In one, we'll be talking about the common pins and pin configuration of Arduino Uno. Okay, because I will be not be talking in a very generalized form because in generalized nature, in generalized form, we have studied microcontrollers prior to this session, right? I hope you all have attended those session. So since our main objective is to work on the projects based on Arduino Uno, so we will be basically focusing on that specifically. Okay. So there are some common pins that we need to study about, we need to know about. And after that, we'll be studying some pin out configuration, pin out diagrams. Okay. Diagrams are very important, dear students. So like this, we will be going forward with our session today. Okay. Because when we come to know about the hardware, much of it, okay, after that, we'll be going into the software part. That is our main part. Okay. But if you don't know the pin configuration of Arduino Uno specifically, okay, that is where to connect which pin, right? It might be a faulty circuit. It might be very dangerous. It might be a hazardous situation created, okay, at your home. So I want you to know the exact functions of the pins of Arduino Uno. I want you to know the exact architecture of Arduino Uno. Okay, so that in future, whenever I name any pin or whenever I name any button, any switch, any LED, any performance factors of Arduino Uno, you don't need to think twice before using it. Okay, so in future, we'll be basically moving to the software part, and after that, coding, and after that, the projects part. Okay, so let us go into the session. Let us see what we have in the session to learn for today. So what we have here, robotics, chapter 6, Arduino part 2. So in chapter 5 that we have studied, that is the session 5 basically. So what we have studied about Arduino Uno, the first part. Okay, basically in general, the Arduino, the first part. So specifically, if you go for Uno, okay, so in the second part, let us see what we have here first. So this is basically our buddy. This is going to be our best friend till our final project. Okay, remember it by heart. So the thing is, if you see here, there are many parts, right? There are numerous amount of parts, and uh, remembering each and every part all at once is a bit difficult job, I know. Okay, but don't worry, since I am here, I'll be helping you to understand the function of each and every parts of it. Okay, let's be very clear about it. All right, so let us begin. See the diagram once again. Okay, keep an Arduino Uno beside you if you have it. If you don't have it, you can open it on the internet and you can see. Fine. So let us begin. So let us move further. Pin configuration. Now, what do you mean by pin configuration? Very easy. Like most of the important pins that we work on all the time, okay, they constitute this slide called the pin configuration. So if you can see, the most important one or the most important two pins, number one is the USB pin. Okay, what is it used for? When we program a microcontroller. Okay, whenever we are programming a microcontroller, what we are doing, we are connecting it to our system, right? And by system, what do I mean? By system, I mean laptop, computer, etc. Right? How to connect? We don't have in Arduino Uno, we don't have the Bluetooth system to connect, unlike Arduino Bluetooth or Arduino BT. I have told you, I have make you see the picture of Arduino BT in our previous slides when we were learning types of Arduino, if you remember, right? So now if you see, so it is being connected with a USB cord. Okay, simple connection, hardware connection, USB cord. Then there is a power button. Now we should not generally call it a power button. but we should say a power cord or power connection, right? Power port. From here, the power supply is being supplied to the Arduino. Okay. So basically, when we are running the Arduino, like after we have uploaded the program and we have fitted the Arduino in our robot or the structure, basically. Okay. So what we need to do, we need to put some power to it. Okay. So that it runs. Okay. 5 volt power is enough. So that power is being given by the power port. Okay. When we are connected to the laptop, at that time, we don't need to give it extra power to it. All right. Then comes the A reference. Okay. TX RAD LEDs. I will be telling you all the functions. Don't worry. TX and RX LEDs or lights, digital input output pins, power LED indicator, ICSP pin. Okay. I'll tell you everything. Atmega 328 micro. The most important thing, the brain of the brain, you can say, because we can say the microcontroller is basically the brain of the computer or brain of the robot. And the brain of this microcontroller is basically the Atmega 328 microcontroller. Okay, a microchip. Fine, the silicon chip. We have studied in details about Atmega. I believe you have attended the class. Okay. Then comes the analog pins. Okay. VIN stands for voltage input. Okay. Whenever there is V in written, you understand it is voltage input. Then comes GND, that's the ground pin. Then 5 volt again, 5 volt input. 3.3 volt input for many functions. Reset pin. Okay. All right. Then there's the voltage oscillator, voltage regulator, and crystal oscillator. What are these things? Let us study them one by one. So number one, what do we have here in number one? Atmega 328 microcontroller. Now, I believe you have attended the class, so I don't need to go in very details about it. But still, for your understanding, for the sake of understanding, it is a single chip microcontroller of Atmel family. Let me just show you the slide fully. Yeah, there it is. So the processor code inside it is of 8-bit. Fine. It combines memory, that is SRAM, EEPROM, and flash memory. These are the types of memory drives that are being used. Analog to digital converter, that is AC converter, SPI serial ports, input output lines, registers, timer, external and internal interrupts, and oscillator. So these are the things that are contained inside a Atmega 328 microcontroller. Okay, I hope you have understood. All right. And if you don't remember one or two things, just refer to the previous session of Atmega 328 microcontroller. You will get everything. No worries. Then comes the ICSP pin. The ICSP stands for in-circuit serial program. ICSP, in-circuit serial programming pin. That allows basically the user to program using the firmware of the Arduino. All right. That is the basic function of ICSP pin, dear students. Then comes the power LED indicator, the most easy to understand things, according to me, in an Arduino, because try to understand when you are providing, when you are supplying, and when you are giving power to an Arduino, it must indicate somehow that it is receiving power, right? It becomes easier for us to track that if the power is being given to the Arduino or the power is getting obstructed somewhere in between. Maybe the cord is damaged, maybe the driver of Arduino software, Arduino, and it is damaged, okay, or burned. So there must be an indicator to show us, okay, how to like when the power is being given. If you see here in the diagram, can you see in the right side here, it says on, and there is a small, very small LED over here. So this is the power LED. Whenever you are connecting the laptop or computer or the system in the USB, via the USB over here, it receives power also. It will glow. It will be high over here. Or whenever you are removing the USB, but you are connecting a power supply to here to run the Arduino, it will show over. Okay. Then comes the digital input output pins. The digital input output pins, they have the value high or low. What do you mean by high or low? Okay, it is not nothing to do with altitude, dear students. So high or low basically means on or off. Students, people who have a background of engineering or at least a background of electronics or anything, they can understand the thing that High or low means switching on and switching off. Dear students, remember, in case of electronics, we generally used these terms like high and low for devices on and off. We can also use the voltage of it, like 5 volt or 0 volt. It will mean high or low itself. What does it mean again? On and off, respectively. Okay. The pins numbered from D0 to D13 are digital pins. Let me show you once again. See here, D0, right? D0 up to here, D13. So these 13 pins, these 14 pins, they are basically digital input output pins. Can you see an interesting fact about it is with D13 over here, listen to me very carefully. It's very useful, very easy, very useful. With D13 over here, the LED over here is also connected. What does that mean? That means, dear students, whenever you are operating something on D13, like you have connected a circuit and some of the connection or the positive connection is connected to D13, right? Whenever you will be supplying the power, D13 LED, that is this LED, small LED will glow differently. Okay. Now, how can we use it primarily for our primary functions? Try to understand. When we'll be starting off projects, we'll be seeing after 1 or 2 sessions only. Okay, 2 to 3 sessions. When we'll be starting off projects, the first mini project, very easy project we'll be making is an LED glow. Pattern might be different from each other, but we will be making an LED glow. In that case, in this scenario, what we need to do is we need to buy an LED from the shop and then connect it to the Arduino in such a manner. Then we need to program the Arduino to blink it in a certain manner. Okay. If you just want to blink it in some simple manner, we don't even need that external LED. Why? Because if you give 5 volts to this 13th pin, that is digital 13, D13 pin, automatically it refers that you are using this LED. So what I mean to say is, what I'm saying is that this LED can also be used for that type of programming, that type of projects, or that type of verifications, right? You don't need an external LED for it. Then comes, dear students, TX and RX LEDs. TX and RX refers to transmitter and receiver X LEDs. The successful flow of data is represented by the lighting of these LEDs. So whenever these LEDs glow, whenever these LEDs are high, that means 5 volt is passing and the LED and the program, everything is running properly, basically. Okay. Then comes AREF, that is, or RF, we say it commonly. Okay, the analog reference pin. Okay, RF means the analog reference pin. These all things we have studied previously in the previous slides. That pin is used to feed a reference voltage to the Arduino Uno board from the external power supply. Whenever we want to supply reference voltage from the external power supply, we use ARF pins. Clear? Then comes the reset button, one of the interesting factor. Whenever you want to basically see, reset button is basically for resetting only. So whenever you want to bring the Arduino to its previous form, simply press the reset button. That's it. Okay. You don't need to go into the software, connect it, then again open the ID, Arduino ID, and then open the code from it, import it, open it, and then delete all the lines. No. If you totally want to bring it to its previous form, reset button. Okay, press the reset button. That's it. Then comes the USB. So it allows the board to connect to the computer. It is essential for the programming of the Arduino Uno board. So I believe we don't need any further definition for an USB port or USB connector, right? Because we all use USB daily for many purposes. Next, the crystal oscillator. This also we have learned, we have studied in the previous chapter. The crystal oscillator has a frequency of 16 megahertz, okay, which makes the Arduino Uno a powerful board. So how Arduino Uno is a powerful board? Because It has a 16 megahertz crystal oscillator, that is the frequency calculator. Okay, so the execution of the programs, the execution of the codes, how it will run and up to what time, and in between there, how much time will be there. All these are controlled by crystal oscillator. Okay. All right. Then comes voltage regulator. The voltage regulator converts the input voltage to 5 volts. So everything, many things like depend on the voltage regulator, because if we supply more than required voltage, what would happen, dear students? What would happen? Obviously, something wrong will happen. It might blow up, it might burn, anything. Okay, so voltage regulator is also needed. Fine. Then comes GND, that is the ground pins. So to complete a circuit, we need at least two wires, might be two paths, from where one electricity will go in and it will complete the circuit through the other path. Okay. All right. So ground pin is that other part with which or from which the electricity circuit will complete its path. Okay. Obviously, it will be in zero voltage. That's why the name ground is given. Then comes Vin, very easy, nothing to understand over here. It is the input voltage basically. Okay. And comes next to it analog pins. So the analog pins, they're numbered from A0 to A5. Okay, they are the analog pins. Okay. The function of analog pins is to read the analog sensor used in the connection. It can also act as GPIO, that is general purpose input output pins. Okay. So as I've said already, that analog pins, they have a variety, like wide range of data they can, right? Digital only have high or low, that is on or off. Okay. Technical specifications of Arduino. Now we are done with some of the pins. We'll be again seeing some important names, some important pins in our next sessions or next slides. Okay, and we'll be completing the hardware then. Now there are 20 input or output pins present on the Arduino. Okay. What else? These 20 pins, they will include 6 PWM pins. Dear students, what do we mean by PWM pins? It is basically meant for pulse width modulation. We'll come to that later, no worries. So pulse width modulation pins. Okay. 6 analog pins. Okay. And the rest is digital pins. Understood? The PWM pins, they're basically pulse width modulations. Next, few important points. The crystal oscillator present in Arduino Uno comes with a frequency 16 megahertz. Okay. It also has an Arduino integrated Wi-Fi module. Try to understand. Such Arduino Uno board is based on the integrated Wi-Fi ESP 8266 module and Atmega 328P microcontroller. Understood? If you have free Wi-Fi module. Okay. Just a minute. Yeah. The input voltage of the Uno boards varies from 7 volt to 20 volt. Okay. Arduino Uno automatically draws power from the external power supply, and it can also draw power from the USB. That's what I was being saying. Okay, I have been saying this thing, that when you are connecting your Arduino board, any Arduino board, okay, not only Arduino Uno, all right, except Uno anything. So any board, whenever you are connecting it to the laptop or computer, whatever it is, they will be drawing power from. So you don't need to get extra power for it. Okay, that's an advantage. Now Uno automatically draws power from the external power supply when the USB is disconnected. Understood, dear students? I hope all the things are clear to you. I was just talking about the hardware of it, right? Some of the important pins that we have. Okay, I hope it is clear to you. So that is going to be it for this session. Okay. So that is going to be it. Go through these slides, go through these sessions. If you have taken notes, go through them and keep it handy, the architecture of the Arduino. Okay. after some time, after some session, you won't be needing it to keep it handy because you would be never remembering. Okay, so don't worry. I also learned in the same way. I'm advising the same thing for you. Okay, thank you for being so patient in this session. We shall again meet very soon in the next session. Thank you very much, students.